So I ran twice, I won twice, and I did much better the second time than we did the first, getting 12 million more votes, and now we may have to run again.
And joining me now is Joe Siracusa. He's a professor of security and diplomacy at Curtin University. Thanks, Professor, for joining us here on TRT World. Let me begin with the obvious question. How likely is it for Donald Trump to be re-elected?
Oh, about 95%. All of his ducks are in a row, the same people who voted for him last time. And his base, which are white working class males without a college education, are ready to return him to office. He's in control here, and of course, his opposition is sliding further and further away from credibility. President Biden has lost a bit of his base. He's sinking in the polls, dealing with inflation and immigration and a war that cannot be won in Europe. So he's got all the negatives going, and he's fighting his chronological age, which is seeming to let him down a little bit. Though biologically, he was supposed to go as toe-to-toe with Trump for the next 4 years. So, and of course, Trump's in a position to flip all those states that Biden took from him: Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. These are the states that enabled Donald Trump to win in 2016, and these indeed are the marginal states that will return him to office in 2024.
All right, so 95%, so the odds are pretty high, right? Now, Professor, what's Donald Trump's biggest advantage right now? Is it his supporter base, which many say are going to vote for him no matter what he does or what he says?
Well, yeah, his base is very, very loyal. They don't see an alternative. The people you indicated in your package who would like to run for the president are not really viable, though I do see Governor DeSantis replacing Governor Pence or Vice President Pence on the ticket. I believe that's quite viable. The other candidates are not so viable. Pompeo and Healy and those people, they don't have much to stand on. So yeah, he's got the base, is ready to return him again. And look, I think it's extraordinary how a man who has lost a presidency has controlled the party. In my lifetime, this is only, this has not been a question. It doesn't happen. And twice a guy had to fight, the second-term president had to fight for his, in the primaries, Jimmy Carter and then George H.W. Bush, and they both lost in the general election. So this is quite unusual. And, Trump is, I think he's ingrained in the American public. He was a TV host for 14 years. He knows how to spin a story, and people still count on him. And of course, he may win by default here because the Democrats look like they're just about ready to be rolled in at the midterms, because all the predictions are that they are going to suffer huge losses, which will then trigger a tsunami in 2024. I think Trump will run. That's what the smart money says. And of course, will his health hold up? Biologically, I think he's in pretty good health. That's what all the doctors say. Chronologically, I wouldn't worry about that. He'll be 78 by the time he gets to the White House. But this is an extraordinary story, and Donald Trump continues to remain a political phenomenon.
Okay, now, Professor, before I let you go, since we have an international audience, if Donald Trump becomes the president of the United States again, tell me, what would a second Trump term mean for the world?
Well, what he would do is he'd get off Vladimir Putin's back. I think America would exit another endless war that it's in right now by proxy. So he would back away from the war in Ukraine, the Russo-Ukrainian war. He'll also back away from NATO a little bit. He'll come down hard on American borders, that is, in the immigration, and he'll have more tax cuts and the like. He'll be very kind to the business community. He is a big believer in trickle-down effect. He reckons if the super rich are doing well and investing, it'll hit the average guy down the road. So he will see that war has to end. He is committed to reform NATO, that is, to move a little bit away from it. And Donald Trump is one of these guys who's trying to figure out how America can stay home. He wants to play a role on the world stage, but he doesn't want to get overly involved in things. So, as you know, in 4 years, he was risk averse. He didn't lose an American soldier, Marine, or sailor, so far as I could tell. And so that's what he would return to. So we'd have a little bit more retreat of America. That's why the people in Europe and NATO were so skittish about Joe Biden, because Biden could say he's back, but they know very well, they're looking over his shoulder, that Donald Trump is not too far away.
All right, Professor Joe Siracusa, thank you very much for talking to us here on TRT World. Really appreciate you taking out the